guys, my name is Steve Brayton. I'm here to give you 4 tips while doing build shoulders, and then of course I plan to share with you guys my weekly results. I've gotten some seriously some awesome gains. I'm definitely seeing the fat just literally melting off. I'm feeling amazing. Alright guys, so the first thing I'm going to talk to you about is the first move that kind of go through in this program, which is your typical shoulder press. While doing shoulder press, I personally love to keep the tension on my shoulders versus going all the way down because, you know, you're going to get a better pump, and I promise that if you do this, you're going to definitely notice that you probably won't be able to lift as much weight, which isn't a terrible thing. Like, you obviously are here to fail. So failing is a good thing. You want to even make less weights work. You know, if you guys have limited equipment, this will help you because, you know, you don't need a lot of weight when you're incorporating a lot of these little adjustments that I do to this program. And they're not huge adjustments. It's honestly, in my opinion, how you should be doing these workouts. You're going to notice in this program that some of the guys in here are doing it right, and then some of the guys are going down a little bit further. And it's not to say that one way is right or wrong necessarily, but the things that I've done to get to where I am now and where I've gotten in the past, these things have definitely seriously made a huge difference in my workouts. So especially while doing shoulders, I mean, I think we can all agree that we want big shoulders, you know? That's something that I'm really trying hard to work on. You know, it's awesome to see that those muscle fibers in there and stuff like that. You want that, right? So doing a lot of this stuff is going to seriously help you with that. So while doing the shoulder press, you're going to want to basically go down to a 90-degree angle versus going all the way down like you see here, you know? So this is what this guy's doing, you know? And then this is what I do, you know? I only go down this far just because I feel like I get way more of a burn. And then also you're going to notice that I'm not locking my elbows. Make sure that when you go up, you're not locking your elbows because that's taking the tension off your shoulders. You don't want to do that. You know, you don't want those little mini breaks. You want to fail. So make sure that you are going up, not locking your elbows, going down, stop at 90 degrees, explode up a little bit slower on the way down, you know, explode up, slower on the way down. It's very similar to what I do when I do legs. Because, you know, when you do legs, you want to go down slow, you know, and then you want to kind of pause for a second and then explode up, you know, and then squeeze without locking your knees. That's what I do personally. Whenever I do squats, I never lock my knees. And I never lock literally anything on my body while doing any move because I don't think it's good for your joints at any given time during any of these workouts. I think that's only going to hurt you more than help you long term. So any of these moves that I do in this program, I don't lock any of my joints. I don't think that's a good idea, you know, especially for those of you that have bad elbows, knees, or anything, bad shoulders, you know, like anything, you know, like you don't want to lock any of your joints. So definitely while doing this move, you know, I would have tried to avoid locking your elbows and just keep them slightly bent. And then the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is the side lateral raise, you know. This is what you're going to see them doing, you know. Obviously, it's not wrong what they're doing. But when doing this program, you're not always watching the TV, you know, right? You know, you're concentrating on what you're doing. You know, maybe you have some music going. You don't really hear things that they're saying, you know, which, you know, I would recommend, you know, going through this program without any music. Well, at least low enough to where you can still hear them talk, because while the trainer Sagi Kalev is talking, he's actually saying a lot of really good stuff that you should probably take in mind or keep in mind when doing a lot of these moves. You know, but throughout the 28 times doing this program, I've definitely learned what works best for me, which I'm excited to share with you guys. There's a few adjustments that I make to a lot of these workouts. So, because some workouts just feel awkward and uncomfortable. So if you ever are in a situation and your workouts are starting to feel uncomfortable in certain moves, you can definitely adjust and, you know, critique the workouts to make it work for you. And I'm going to give some examples to that shortly here. So when doing the side lateral raise, something that I try to do is actually, when I go down, like you see here, I don't go down all the way to the point where I'm literally resting my arms at my side. I come up slightly or down slightly away from my side, you know, to keep that tension on my shoulders. And then once again, I always slightly bend my elbows while doing this move as well. And then try to go straight out from the side, not forward. You know, a lot of guys, you'll see them, you know, swinging the weights forward in this move, and that's not really how you're supposed to do it. You know, you want to go straight out, you know, so if you were to look off to your right, your dumbbell's literally right in front of your face, not off to the left or the right or whatever. You know, it should be straight out from the side, you know, so make sure that when you're doing this move that you are going up, you know, not too far. You don't have to get crazy and go up too far, just flat to where you look across your arms and they're like flat, literally, you know, and that's pretty much it, you know. And then when you go down, keep in mind all this same stuff, you guys. During this move, you don't need a lot of weight to get size during this move. A lot of guys think that you need to lift super big weights to get big shoulders, but you really, honestly and truly don't, you know. And you can get really awesome shoulders and huge shoulders by doing these moves correctly while using smaller weight, you know. Arnold Schwarzenegger, one of his most popular weights that I read in one of the magazines about him one day, his most popular weight to get his huge arms was like 35 pounds. I mean, who knew? You know, you'd think he'd be lifting like freaking 60-pound dumbbells or some shit, you know. But you don't. The fact of the matter is, you don't need a lot of weight to gain muscle. You know, in some moves, this doesn't apply to all moves. You got to remember, you know, shoulders it's a smaller muscle. You know, it just is. You don't need a lot of weight to make that fucker grow. You know. So my biggest thing when doing shoulders is to concentrate more on the squeeze and make sure that I keep that tension on my shoulders, just like I talked about when doing the shoulder press. This is the same sort of concept. So again, what I do is I go down, you know, slightly down to where my arms are not hanging. I keep that tension there, and then I explode up, pause for a second, and then I go down, explode up, pause for a second, then slowly go down, and then explode up. You guys get the idea. And honestly, the whole slow down, explode up, that's how you should be doing. A slight pause at the bottom of all your moves should be there, just to show that you have control of your weight. If you cannot do that kind of thing, then you are lifting too heavy a weight, you know, because a lot of guys, they're doing this program and they're just not seeing results, and it's because they're not doing these little tiny adjustments that you seriously need to do while doing this program. You know, a lot of guys, they come into the gym, you know, they're whipping around these weights and they complain about not sweating, not getting the intensity, you know, and all this stuff. And that's because they're not implementing all this little stuff that makes such a huge difference. And even when I'm telling you right now in this move, it seems so small, so minor, you know, but I promise if you do this, the weight that you may have been doing, you're not going to be able to do it anymore, you know, and that's not a bad thing. That doesn't mean you're not going to grow. You know, you're going to benefit more from going down in weight, doing it right, getting the squeeze, getting more blood flow to your muscle than you would using a bigger weight and then just kind of flopping around with your weights. You don't want to do that. You got to think of yourself as like a machine, you know, while doing all these moves. You know, you're literally a machine. You do everything perfect. You know, you explode up just like, you know, a machine would. If you could design like a program your body to do a certain thing, you know, like imagine yourself being literally a machine and just perfect every time. You know, you go down, slightly out, you explode up, pause, you know, slow down, explode up, pause, slow down, and you're not going to need a lot of weight. So this move is absolutely huge. You guys see people doing this in the gym probably all the time. It is such an underrated move, but it is also one of the probably the most ineffective moves. But that's not because it's not good to do. It's because people are probably just not doing it correctly. You know, they're sitting there swinging up their arms like this and shit. That ain't gonna do nothing. The only thing it's doing is wrecking your shoulders, fucking your shoulders up. You know, so, and this kind of goes with a lot of the stuff that I'm talking about. So make sure that you're really thinking about what you're doing when you're doing all this shit. You know, you got to take your time, think about what you're doing, think about what muscle you're working, put your mind in that muscle and squeeze the piss out of it. You know, get the blood in your muscle. I just talked to my team recently about how to get that defined upper chest, which I'm trying really hard to work on getting. So it's very similar to all those tips that I gave my team. Right now, like I said, I'm working to get that defined right here. I want to be able to hold a fucking Sharpie right here with my upper chest. That's my goal, eventually. Now that I quit motocross, I'm very curious to see how far I take this shit this year. Seriously, especially with the gains I've already gotten so far. It's insane. I can't wait to share with you guys my results. It's freaking crazy. Yeah, so if I don't have any setbacks this year, I'm very, very excited to see how far I can get and how much size I can get. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, so that's all I got to say about the side raise. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is the upright row. A lot of you guys might find yourself to feel a little uncomfortable while doing this move. And that's completely normal, you know, like I sometimes, I don't know if it's because I spend a lot of time on the computer, I don't know if it's carpal tunnel, I don't know what the hell it is, but sometimes my wrist is just weird, you know, like maybe it's something that I did at work, maybe, I don't know, but sometimes it just feels weird on my wrist when I'm using the bar, you know, while doing the upright row. So instead, I use dumbbells a lot of the times while doing this move, like you see here, you know, and by doing this move with dumbbells, and this was instigated because my wrists felt kind of like, you know, weird and awkward when I did the bar, and I thought it was maybe like something to do with carpal tunnel or something was going on. But after using and being forced to go to the dumbbells, I actually kind of started to like the dumbbells better because it didn't feel as awkward on my wrists, you know? So I started using dumbbells, and now I've just been using dumbbells, not to mention, you know, again, this is another one of those moves where you don't need a lot of weight. Again, you guys, I hate to say it, but your shoulders, even on the biggest guy out there, it's not a very big muscle. I mean, it is on the big bodybuilders, of course, but you guys know what I mean. Like, if you were to compare it to a fucking quad or a thigh, you know, like your thigh is the biggest muscle. Like, obviously, you know, compare your shoulder to your thigh. Obviously, you're not going to be able to lift as much weight with your shoulder as you can your legs. You know, it's just the way it is. So there's certain muscles where you're only going to be able to lift smaller amount of weight, but you're going to benefit way more by lifting what you can actually lift. But when I say that, I want to make damn sure that you guys still remember, I talk about this a lot in my past videos, but you want to make sure that you go to failure too, while keeping all this good stuff in mind. So make sure you're getting to failure. So again, takeaway from this move is, you know, if your wrists are feeling a little uncomfortable from using the bar, go to dumbbells. Don't feel like you're sacrificing size in any way, you know? And I actually kind of like the dumbbells, like I'd said, a little bit more, just because I'm able to go back a little bit more, and there's just more like room for like, you know, really squeezing. Like with the bar, I can only do this, you know? But with the dumbbells, I'm actually able to like really squeeze, you know? Not to mention when you're using dumbbells too, I don't have to have my hands forced to be like this. I can actually just keep them like this. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's a little less, I guess, awkward on my wrists. So that's just something. I might go back to the bar. I don't know. But as of right now, I absolutely love this. And then also, last thing I got to say about this move, very similar to the two other moves that I talked about, shoulder press and the side lateral raise. You know, like any of these moves, I always try to keep the tension on the muscle that I'm working. Why? Because what happens when you do plank, right? Think of that. Think about the plank and how like fatigued and how much you sweat when you do plank, you know, and how like tight your stomach feels. Think about how effective plank is. In my opinion, plank is one of the most underrated fucking workouts there is because it is so effective to help getting you a ripped midsection. So think of it that way, you know, think about how much more you sweat when you do plank at the end of your workout if you do planks. You know, this is very similar to the plank because it's keeping the tension on your muscles while you're doing the entire set. You know, that is something you can incorporate to all this shit. And that is how I get such insane results, you guys, because like I said, you picture a plank, you know, and how much you sweat during that move, you know, and how like nuts you are. Imagine if you could incorporate that throughout all your workouts. It's game changing. That is how you're seeing me getting shredded, you know. I'm getting fucking ripped, you guys, and it's because I'm applying all these little critiques to these workouts. It's game changing. You have to apply this stuff consistently, and I promise you're gonna see very noticeable, huge results from doing these tiny little adjustments. So, last thing about the upright row, I said that once already, but just take away from this, same thing. Keep the tension on when you go up. Don't just hang your arms at the bottom, you know. Keep the tension on, like you see me doing here, and then, you know, when you go up, do a slight pause, you know, just like every other move that I just talked about. When you're going up, you know, don't be afraid to hold it. Don't just go up and then fall down right away. Do you know what I mean? That ain't gonna do shit. You gotta go up, own the weight. Think about that too. Are you owning the weight or is the weight owning you? You know, if the weight is owning you, even if you're getting it up, I mean, come on. That's probably too heavy for you. So when you're going up, if you can't do a slight pause at the bottom of any of your moves, you're probably lifting too much weight. You know, you see a lot of those guys in the gym, they're like bouncing the bar off of their chest when doing a chest press. It's like, come on, really? You know, that ain't doing shit. If you have to do shit like that, you shouldn't be lifting the weight. You shouldn't have to bounce the bar off your chest, right? It's the same sort of concept with all this other stuff that I'm talking about right now during these moves. You know, own the weight. You know, is the weight owning you or are you owning the weight? Think about that all the time. Write that shit down and put it on your face, in your mirror something, you know, right in front of you. You know, make sure that like when you're doing all these moves, you know, you're a machine, you know, own the weight. Can you do that weight, you know? And like I said, you know, keep the tension on your muscles that you're working the entire time while you're doing all these moves. Remember, plank, think about how effective that is and how like sweaty you get and crazy, hurt, how much it burns and shit. That is stuff that you should be incorporating into these moves because it's going to do the same thing only in that particular muscle, not just your abs. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's what I got to say about the upright row. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about, so during this move, very, very similar to the first three I talked about. You know, this is another one where you're going to see them using a bar. When I first started this program years back, I was using the bar and I always thought I had to use the bar. I thought like, you know, if I didn't have a bar, then use dumbbells, you know, because you see Sagi using the bar, so obviously I should be using a bar. But honestly, I've been starting to use the dumbbells for the very same reason I started using the dumbbells during the upright row. Because my wrists just feel awkward when doing this move, you know? Like, you see me doing here, like, I just feel better when I'm able to go in and squeeze at the top. And again, during this move, when you're down at the bottom, don't bounce and go back up. A lot of guys, I see doing that shit. You can't be doing that. You know, you gotta go down, own the weight, pause a little bit at the bottom, explode up, go back down, you know, and don't lock your elbows, you know, and then at the top of these moves too, I mean, there's so much stuff that you got to think about while you're doing these moves, but the good news is it's the same shit every time. Everything that I'm telling you to do and all this stuff right now, you guys, is literally pretty much the same thing. I'm just giving you different examples of different moves and how to do it, obviously, you know, because again, if you do all these little critiques to every single one of these moves, by keeping all these tips in mind, it's going to be game changing. You're going to get faster, way better results. You're going to gain more size. You're going to shred faster. You're going to sweat more. Your heart rate's going to skyrocket, which is what you want, you know, and you're going to start sweating. You're going to start, the fat's just going to melt off like it is for me, you know. So again, during this move, I don't bounce at the bottom, but I pause, you know, and then I explode up. Same shit, you know, and then when I go up, I don't like lock my elbows to like get a little mini break, so to speak, you know? So own the weight. Don't let the weight own you. But that's pretty much all I got, you guys. So the takeaway from basically stuff that you need to keep in mind while doing all these moves is, like I said, it's very similar things to keep in mind. You know, so to give you a good takeaway, to kind of break it down for you, you know, when you're doing these moves, you want to try to keep the tension on the muscle that you're working, you know. The idea is to get as much blood in that fucking muscle as possible, whether you're doing chest, shoulders, arms, it don't matter, you know. And then make sure that when you are doing these moves, you know, you're putting the full range of motion in all these moves either. Don't be doing halfsies on any of these moves. But you also don't want to lock your elbows or any of your joints, because I've done that in the past and I've gotten fucked up from it. And I don't want that to be you. Especially when you start doing really heavy weights and stuff, you guys, that can be dangerous. You don't want to be doing that shit. So keep that in mind. Don't lock any of your joints, you know. And then, you know, own the weight. So when you go down in your moves at the bottom, pause for a second, you know. So slow on the way down, pause, explode up, squeeze. That's it. Apply that to every single move, and I'm promising you right now that your results will be absolutely game-changing. Like for an example, I've had guys on my team that have been doing this program for like, some of them maybe even for years, and they've been doing it forever, and they love it, you know, they love the program, you know, but then they start taking all these little tips and adjustments that I'm giving them, and they're like, holy shit, it's like a completely different workout. And then they're, you know, now they're getting results, you know, mixed in with the help with meal planning, of course, motivation, all that stuff, being a part of a team. That all obviously plays a big role. But, you know, if you apply these little small things into your workouts, I promise you guys will be blown away on how much it will transform your workout. So that's pretty much all I got to say about those things. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is, of course, my results. My results are absolutely, I knew I was going to get some results. You know, I was pretty confident that I was going to, you know, kick some ass, whatnot, but I didn't think I'd get results quite as fast as I did. I maybe expected to see the weight fall off, but I did not expect to gain as much muscle as I've gained within the last few months. It's been pretty amazing, you know. I've been switching up my supplements just a little bit, so obviously I'm sure that had a lot to do with it. And this is something else I want to mention to you guys too, is that, you know, I have a lot of people that reach out to me and they're so worried and saying like, you know, I don't want to do anything that's not natural, you know. I'm not taking steroids, I'm not, you know, and I've even gotten accused multiple times of taking steroids and shit, you know, on this channel multiple times. And whatever, at first I got like pissed off about it, you know, it's like, how dare you like accuse me of something like that after I've worked so hard, you know. And at first anybody, you know, it's gonna bother you, but I've gotten used to it by now. I'm pretty numb to it. I just kind of shrug it off, and then, you know, I look at it as pretty much a compliment. But I just want to make sure everybody is aware that everything I do is 110% natural. The only way I'm able to get these results that I always share with you guys, with the gains and fucking just massive size and getting shredded as fast as I do, it's honestly a huge part is because of these supplements that I'm taking. Can you get results without taking supplements? Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can get results. You're not going to get like that next level of results. Tried it, done it for years. I've skipped around and tried a lot of different shit, and just never happened, you know, because I just never found supplements that I liked enough to where I didn't feel like I needed to venture and just try something else, because honestly I wasn't seeing results with a lot of these supplements, and I just kept on bouncing around between all these different brands. And you guys can, I'm sure, can relate. You go to like say bodybuilding.com, there's a fucking ton of different like shit and proteins you can take. Like, where do you even begin? You know, it's like it comes to a point where it's like that's just too many options, you know. Like, I don't even know what's good, what's bad, you know, like how do you filter out what is actually going to work? So because I had so many options, I never really felt confident, you know, that I was taking good quality supplements, you know? So that is why I absolutely love the supplements that I take, because it's a company that just basically puts everything they got into one thing of protein. You know, like I have my Recover, my Recharge that I take before bed, I got my pre-workout, I got my Hydrate, you know, that I drink while I work out, you know, I got a good source of creatine, and it's just all there. And they put all their research and everything they got into these supplements, And I don't have to choose any from like a shit ton of different kinds of supplements. It's like, boom, here you go, here's your flavors, you pick what you want, and it's just simple. I don't need to sit there and wonder if I'm getting the best thing, because I know they're putting everything into this one thing, and I don't have to like sit there and try to pick it all out. That's why I love this shit so much. And that's honestly why I think I'm able to, well, I know that's why I'm able to get these results, because I have confidence in these supplements, and obviously you guys see the results that I'm getting. So, you know, it's such a huge thing, you know, and I'm not here to sell you on this shit. You can take whatever you want, but all I'm saying is if you guys want next level results, you're gonna need to invest in some supplements. I'm just telling you that right now, because I have gotten guys that have reached out to me in the past and said, hey man, you know, I'm following you on your YouTube channel and I'm doing everything that you said to do, and I'm still not seeing the results that you're getting. Well, can't be cheap. You know, ultimately, if you want really insane, awesome, freaking fast results like every guy wants or whatever, you gotta be willing to invest. Get some freaking supplements. Make sure they're good quality supplements, you know? You gotta invest. It's just that simple. Otherwise, you know, comes down to you just not wanting it bad enough, you know? Like, I was pretty big cheap ass when I first started, man. Like, I was trying to just do a bunch of eggs, you know, and it just got to be so exhausting to try to get in as much protein as I needed, to where I just had to break and get protein, because how the hell are you supposed to get in as much protein as you're supposed to get if you don't take protein? You know, like it's literally borderline impossible. You know how many eggs you have to eat? You literally feel like you're gonna throw up. Like, so it was impossible for me to get the amount of protein that I get now without supplements. Like, it's not an unnatural thing to do. I'm just taking more protein, you know, like, and then the pre-workout, that's an all natural thing too. So it's like, all I'm saying is if you want serious results like I'm getting and I'm sharing with you guys right now, you guys have to be willing to invest in some supplements. Whether it be with the stuff that I'm taking or not, you're gonna have to get some supplements, you know, and there's a few things you're gonna wanna make sure that are in your supplements, which I'm just gonna list off quick for you. It's very simple. In your post-workout shake, you're gonna want fast, medium, slow releasing protein. You're gonna need some BCAAs in your protein. You know, all 3 branched-chain amino acids. You're gonna need those to build muscle, you know? And then you're gonna need the perfect amount of carbs. You're gonna need some carbs in your protein as well, you know? And then you're gonna need something to help you with muscle fatigue, and you're gonna need something to help you with muscle soreness, you know? So those 4 things, I would say, you know, are absolutely crucial. Make sure to read the ingredients too. If it's a huge ass list of shit, it's got a lot of fillers in there probably. You know, if you can't pronounce half the shit that's in it, don't take it. You're throwing money out the window. Spend the money on some good shit, you know, and get some good quality supplements. Don't be cheap, you know? Just get some good quality supplements, and then you will see results. If you apply all this stuff that I'm telling you right now and you're taking supplements, then yes. Well, and nutrition, obviously, that's like 80% of your results. So make sure your nutrition's on point, you know? There's just way too much stuff, honestly, to talk about in these videos to seriously help you guys like 100%. You know, obviously, if you really want results and you're like fucking sick of all the guessing, you know, then, you know, maybe joining my team would be a good thing for you, you know, like, but if you're not quite ready yet and you're still kind of like not ready to fully commit, and you don't even know kind of what you're doing right now with the workouts and whatnot, and you know, don't feel like either that you need to be perfect joining into my team either. You know, a lot of guys are maybe some that watch my channel they're like so intimidated because I get so crazy, right? But you don't need to be perfect. Nobody that joins my team is perfect right off the bat. I have to work hard and help guys with just getting in a perfect 2 weeks of working out. It's how it is, you know, and that's okay. You know, I've been there too. You know, I've struggled in the past plenty with that, with being consistent. So it took me a year to finally complete my first program, which was P90X, you know, because I started and then I stopped it and I started and I stopped it, you know, but I finally finished it after a year, you know. But yeah, so you're not alone. You don't need to be perfect coming into the group. And then, you know, if you guys are kind of like researching supplements now that I said all that stuff, just keep in mind, if you do want support, you don't have to pay me extra for support. A lot of guys are thinking, okay, I have to get supplements, and then how much do you charge for your support? No, I don't charge anything for my support. You just have to basically invest in the supplements that I take. That's it. And then my support comes free along with the supplements. It's just the way it works. It's a slamming fucking deal. And you can literally get into my group for $100 a month. Pre-workout, post-workout shake, round-the-clock support, meal plans, accountability, being a part of a team. Like, what? $100? That ain't shit. You spend that probably on out to eat. You know, like, and that's all you gotta spend for an entire month of that shit. Like, think about that. The value that you're getting is unbelievable, and it's unheard of. You can't get that anywhere else. You know, where do you get that much support with supplements? It's just, you don't, it's non-existent. And if there is something else out there that's like that, please let me know, because I don't think there is, truthfully. So here I am, right now. I'm at 8.7, I think, percent body fat. I did my percentage of body fat last night, but yeah, so 8.7% body fat, you guys. I'm freaking kicking ass. These are my results. I'm feeling absolutely fucking amazing. My weights are increasing. My the scale, you know, when it comes to like weighing myself, I'm sticking right around 173 to 178 right now, and I'm trying to stay there. I want to keep losing percentage of body fat, but I want to stay the same weight, which means, of course, you guys obviously know that I'm then gaining muscle, which I am because my weights are increasing. I'm feeling freaking fantastic, you guys. I'm feeling on top of the world. This shit is amazing. Anybody can do this. So if you guys are like, you know, kind of like thinking over there like a little bit too much about getting started and just committing to this whole process, and it's just a scary thing, like, don't be scared, because you don't have to be perfect. I'm not expecting anybody to be perfect when entering into my team. That's what I'm there to help you with, is getting through all the little hurdles that you're dealing with. Like, don't ever expect to be perfect coming into my team. Like, some of the guys, like I said, they're afraid because, you know, they don't want to disappoint, you know, and it's like, come on now. You don't have to worry about that. I wasn't perfect either. I don't expect anybody to be perfect when joining my team. You know, that's what I'm there to help you with, you know. Consistency with your workouts, you know, is hard, you know, food, you know, it's a lot. It's a lifestyle change, you know, and I know that's going to take some time. So again, don't expect, you know, like to be, like, you don't feel like you need to be perfect joining into my team. But that is all I got for you guys in this video. We'll see you guys next week. Let's see if I can get down in the 7s. I'm excited that I can say I'm in the 8s when it comes to percentage of body fat. My goal is to get down to competition level, as you guys know, 5% at least, maybe even a little bit more. I don't know. We'll see how far I want to go down, but I'm not sure. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get that shredded. It's amazing. You get some awesome abs separation when you get that low. So I haven't seen that in a while, so I'm pretty jacked up to see that. And yeah, awesome, guys. We'll talk to you guys later, and have a kick-ass week. Peace, guys.